You're watching the Wellness Hour Consumer Report. I'm Randy Alvarez. Today's topic, we're talking about small businesses today, what you need to know to save money on taxes, how to set up your company as a corporation. Some people, according to my first guest, they are set up in the wrong style of corporation that may not be giving them all the tax benefits. Well, with us, we have the Desert CPA, who runs a fairly large CPA firm in the desert. I've known him now for 17 years. He's my CPA. He's been on the show before. Stan Mroz. Stan, welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you.
Now, do you call yourself an accountant? I always call you a CPA.
Accountant, CPA.
Okay, good.
You know.
So you've been helping small businesses now. I mean, this is kind of your thing for like 40 years.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Correct.
And has a lot changed?
Yes, a lot has changed. You know, from the way we keep books, the tax law, what's important to small business. It was fairly simple 40 years ago to run a small business. Now it's very complex because you have all these rules and issues that come up, compliance issues with the government and the counties, and doing proper accounting. It's changed a lot.
Okay, good. People need to know. When people come on my show, I try to just be the guy asking the questions. I try not to endorse them, but in this case, I'm definitely endorsing you because you're my CPA.
Yeah.
Not only that, you help some of my clients as well. I mean,
that's correct. Yeah.
The busiest plastic surgeon in the desert by far uses you, swears by you.
Correct.
Is always referring you to their friends. I know other doctors that work in healthcare that are using you. You also, one of the most popular businesses on El Paseo is your client.
Yeah.
But like you say, your typical client really are just small businesses.
Small business.
So for people that don't know your accounting firm, right? Because you do it all under one roof. Who's your typical client, and what are the different services you offer?
Well, a typical client is a good small business person that needs proper accounting, wants a good advice, tax advice, business advice, and they can be, anywhere from grossing $500,000 to, well, I did work for a company in my past in the Bay Area who was a $50 million company. So anywhere in that range, I can help them.
In between.
Work with them.
Okay, good. Now, because we talked on the phone about this, right? And you handle a lot of the things for me, reconciling bank statements, coding things properly, making sure I get the write-offs I need.
Correct.
We're a small company. We have employees.
Yeah.
You help me with 401k advice, things like that. Is that what you do pretty much for everybody?
Yes, pretty much that, and there are business advisory issues. For instance, cash flow is very important for a small business.
Now, your prices, by the way, we should mention, for you to handle things, it's an affordable situation. I mean, I look at it as outsourcing.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends, they have in-house people.
Yeah.
Cost them some money.
Right.
A lot of those people aren't doing a good job. We know of several people in the desert that tried it on their own 2 different times, 3 different times, 4 different times. Some of them had a lot of theft, and then they end up with Stan Mroz.
That's right. And even, when we were we had one client, for instance, who their controller was doing everything, even though we recommended there should be a separation of duties. So after that client lost a lot of money due to embezzlement, now we reconcile the bank and monitor the coding and ensure that, as much as possible, that doesn't happen again.
Okay, good. Now,
also improve their reporting.
Okay, good. Now you have prices, and when we normally don't talk a lot about money on this show, but you have prices starting at under $500 a month. Yeah. To handle a lot of things in running a business.
Yes, we
is that right?
We kind of tailor the cost of our services based on the client's needs. So we can go. I have a client, small manufacturing client in Beaumont, and their fees are under $500 a month.
Is that right? To handle and reconcile and things like that, do their taxes?
Coding. Well, taxes are always going to be separate.
Okay.
But the monthly accounting, the bank reconciliations, checking the coding, and preparing 1099s, the usual things that a small business has to deal with. Those are all incorporated in that monthly fee.
Okay.
So we can tailor it.
So today we're talking a little bit about, or a lot about, how to operate as a business. Should it be an LLC, a C Corp, an S Corp, or just sole proprietorship? And you say there's a lot of confusion about these things? I mean, everybody starts a business, they want an LLC, it sounds like to me.
Well, LLCs.
So let's start there, LLCs.
LLCs became the vogue thing when they, all the states came in and said, well, let's have this new entity that has kind of the corporate shield, yet it's flexible, more flexible. So everybody is jumping on LLCs. Before that, people would say, well, I want to incorporate. And should I be a C or should I be an S? And what are the differences? And what we do is we take a look at the client, for instance, who probably starts out as a sole proprietorship. And we select the best entity that fits their needs. For instance, a C Corp, if you're going to have more than 50 owners, a C Corp might be, the best way to go. There's a disadvantage, however, because there's double taxation with a C Corp. Where an S Corp, if you're having less than 50 owners, you have more flexibility and you don't have that double taxation. LLCs are great because they give you that umbrella, corporate umbrella for protection.
In case you're sued.
In case you're sued. But let's say you have a 2-owner LLC. Now you can operate as a partnership if you do nothing else, or you can elect to be a corporation. The downfall or disadvantage is if one of those owners leaves, then that LLC has to be dissolved. Okay. And then you start over. So there's advantages and disadvantages to all these different entities, and we have to help our clients select the best one that works for them.
Okay, now, we talked on the phone yesterday about LLCs.
Yeah.
Right? Because I was wondering, what's the big advantage of an LLC? Why am I not an LLC? But, so I guess with an LLC, for somebody just starting out, no employees, things like that, that's ideal, right?
It could be if you need
But if you want to write off health insurance, if you want to write off your car and things like that, or if you want to grow your business, you're definitely going to have to switch over to like an S Corp. Is that right?
Well,
because LLC, you have limitations of what you can.
Again, an LLC is easy to get into, and it gives you that corporate, protection, that umbrella of the lawsuit protection. But you get to choose how you want to be taxed. You can, if you're a single member LLC, you can operate with that protection as a sole proprietorship. You still can do pension plans. You still can have health insurance. And things like that. But if you get to a point where you say, well, no, I want to be an S Corp, taxed as an S Corp. Well, you can elect at the beginning of the year to all of a sudden become taxed as an S Corp. So it's flexible.
Well, everybody wants to choose the corporate, I guess, operating as a business where they're going to pay the least amount of taxes. So is this a loaded question where it's not, it's not easy to explain what's better over the other?
No, it's more along with the goals of the businessman. How many owners do they want? How flexible do they want it? For instance, in a C Corp, you can have a fiscal year. So you can time the when you get taxed to a point where, it's more beneficial for you. So you could pick a June fiscal year. Where you can't with an S Corp. S Corp typically has to be a calendar year, December. But there's more flexibility with an S Corp, and you don't get that.
And I asked you this yesterday,
yeah.
that most people are S Corps. Correct. Or should be S Corps over C Corp.
Well,
is that right?
We recommend S Corps because of the flexibility and the lack of double taxation.
Okay.
There are limitations. Obviously, you can't have more than 50 shareholders in an S Corp. So there's some things you can't do. You can't.
But for small businesses, an S Corp might be ideal. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yes, it would be ideal. You don't want to have a second class of stock. In a C Corp, you can have a second class of stock. In an S Corp, you can't have a second class of stock because then you're automatically, move to a C Corp. So there are limitations, there's advantages in each type of entity and disadvantages. And so our job is to help, our client choose the right entity that works for them and their business. I had this one client who came to me and they incorporated as an LLC, operating as a partnership. And they came to me, they became very successful and were making a lot of money. And they came to me and we switched them to S Corp and therefore they saved a lot of money in taxes.
Audits. I mean, you handle audits for the IRS. You've helped me in these sticky situations.
Yeah.
Is that common? I mean, this is what you do? You talk to the IRS in their behalf?
Yes, absolutely. I had, a good example is I have a martial arts client, and I've had that client for 25 years. And when that client came to me, I became familiar with how they record their income versus a normal gym. Okay. Two different kinds. But the IRS attacked them and said that they wanted to tax them on these receivables, this contract. And because I was aware of a proper accounting system and tax law for them, I saved them and the IRS went away and didn't assess anything.
So you actually get on the phone with the IRS, like you done for me.
Yeah.
And you're not afraid of the IRS a little bit?
No.
These people?
No.
You speak their language?
I work with them, every year. I've been working, with IRS issues for 40 years. And so I'm fully aware, not in every aspect, but what I don't know, I'll find out. But I become familiar with my clients' accounting and tax issues. So if the IRS attacks them, I'm prepared to defend them. And right now we're working on an IRS tax issue with another client, retail client. So
to deal with a larger size accounting firm like you, right? You have a team of people.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to cost more.
No.
Is that right?
No.
I mean, because your prices are about the same as everybody, maybe a little bit less based on my research.
We can customize, our services to the client's needs, and give them a fixed price. We can always fix the price on a tax return unless we're sure we know exactly what's going to be presented to us. But if we're doing the accounting for a business and it's a corporation, we pretty much know what it's going to take to prepare that tax return.
Okay, good.
So we can give them a quote.
So since we're just having a discussion here, right? Do you think it's a mistake that small businesses insource or have an office manager or a controller? Actually, they were not even any accounting background, but they end up graduating, take a few courses, learn to master QuickBooks, right? Yeah. And now they're their accountant. Do you think that's a mistake instead of outsourcing to somebody like you and just paying a low monthly fee? I mean, look, I'm not an accountant, but I think it's a huge mistake. I think if people realized, oh my goodness, for under $500 a month, I could have somebody that could oversee these things and make sure things are being coded properly, and then I'm getting the right write-offs, that I'm operating as a corporation the right way. Yeah. I don't want to say too much here, but give me your thoughts.
Well, my thought is that we can help that controller, or we can save the client money because they don't need to spend as much on the person that has to learn QuickBooks and accounting. So in case that person isn't working out, they can let them go, and yet we still are there to continue their accounting. But also in the respect that, we like to see segregation of duties. So if you have a controller who's doing everything, we would like to at least do the bank reconciliations and check the coding to make sure things are done properly and there's no embezzlement because we're doing the reconciliation. So we can assist there by creating that extra step to make sure things are done properly.
Good, good. I mean, you've caught things. You've caught things for me in my business where I wrote some in-house checks. You were all over it and say, by the way, they weren't taxed on it. You're going to be in trouble. Yeah. Right.
Correct. Well, I'll give you another good example. Yeah. We have a client who's got a lot of a realtor who's got a lot of things going on in their lives. We do all their accounting. We pay all their bills. because that saves them money, and we're on top of everything. So we're watching their cash, we're recording, the bills that need to be paid, advising the client, here's what needs to be paid, getting authorization, writing the checks, mailing the bills out. So we're on top of things so they don't miss, say, an insurance.
So you could do you could literally handle their payroll,
outside office,
write every one of their checks.
Yeah, correct.
That's
now the beauty of that situation is, let's say they, don't think we're doing a good job. Well, they can fire us. But if they had a controller or a bookkeeper, in-house bookkeeper, full charge, now they got a human resource problem.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They got to fire this person.
Because somebody's feelings are hurt that maybe they're insinuating that they stole money or something.
And then you got to find somebody else qualified to do that work.
And you're still look, I know your fees, even if you handle the whole thing, like you just say, paying their bills and doing everything as a full service, like you're their controller in a way, right?
Outside controller.
Outside controller. You're still a lot less than the cheapest employee.
That could be true, yes, depending on the size of the business.
And I don't have to pay your medical insurance and your Social Security and all that other stuff.
Right, you don't have to.
It's a lot less expensive.
That's a good point. It is. It's a lot less expensive because you don't have to hire that person or fire that person if they're not doing a good job, and then try to find someone else to take over, because we're handling it for them and we're doing it properly and we're recording things properly.
At what point should somebody make a switch?
Okay.
Because a lot of people, it's like going to the dentist. You start with one dentist, and some people just stay there for the rest of their lives. Yeah. You have one accountant or bookkeeper. You stay there forever, right?
Yeah.
So at what point should somebody make a switch? Maybe their bookkeeper is fine. They're just a bookkeeper, or their accountant. And like you say, you want to be positive against bookkeepers because there's some great ones out there. Yeah, but at what point should you make a change as a small business to an accounting firm like yours?
Well, I think you should start out with an accounting CPA firm, even though I know that you can hire a bookkeeping service. The question I always have with bookkeeping services, and it's not that they're not qualified. Some of them are very qualified.
But some of them are very not qualified.
Some of them took a QuickBooks class, and all of a sudden they're QuickBooks experts. There are a lot of little nuances with QuickBooks can throw you off, and you don't know about it. And we're always kind of finding out these issues as we go along. And then we call QuickBooks and they say, oh yeah, well, we forgot about that, we're correcting it. So, and our job, because we're accountants, is to know what things should look like in their accounting records. So it's not a matter of punching numbers into a program and say, well, I put the numbers in the program according to what the program said, but it's also the ability to look at
and say that's not right. Something's not right here.
Something's not right there. Something's off.
Instead of just saying the numbers don't lie.
I put them in the way I was told to put them in, and they should be good. That's not necessarily so. If you put them in the wrong place or you check the wrong box, they're not right.
So QuickBooks doesn't do all the work. I mean, you have to intellectually know.
You have to know how to do, how to work with the program and what to expect as a result from that program.
So my original question about when should somebody switch is when?
I'd say even if you hire a full-time bookkeeper, you still want that CPA to be overlooking things.
What else haven't I talked about that you do for small businesses?
Well, it's important on a small business at the end of the year to know, what their income and tax situation is. So for a lot of our small businesses, we project out their tax situation. So if they want to make a change before the end of the year, we're there to help them and advise them what would be a good change to make to minimize their tax. And in some instances where, say, a rule was going to change and they should increase their income because the next year their tax rates are going to be higher, then we can, maybe pull in more income in that year if it works out. And so they're paying taxes on a lower rate when we know tax rates are going to go up, or we're going to lose a benefit. Some benefits, 4 or 5 years ago, we were going to lose the $500 $1,179 expense. And so we were thinking, buy that large piece of equipment now, instead of waiting until the 179 bonus expires and goes down to a lower amount. As it turned out, they extended it. So we don't know what Congress is going to do all the time.
What you just talked about for the last minute, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
But the point is that
we save money.
That they're saving money, but the point is that there are bookkeepers or controllers that probably don't know what you just said either.
Correct.
Which is another reason why you should hire a
CPA.
real accountant.
Correct.
To do your books.
Yeah.
A CPA. Yeah.
Or at least helping to make sure you have good separation of duties, but also to understand where a client's at. So when we're doing the reconciliation process, we review the tax, the financial statement and say, gosh, your profits are quite high this year. What's going on? We check it, and then we talk about doing some tax planning and saving taxes.
Yeah. I mean, you've called me and told me you got to pay yourself more.
Yeah.
Or you're going to have a huge bill at the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you caught that, which was nice.
Yeah.
And so that's part of what you're doing every day.
That's what we do. One of my bookkeepers even reviews one of our clients. She will review the bank statement on a monthly basis and determine when a customer has sent a bad check. So she can go and tell the customer to go contact my client to contact that customer and get the money replaced, versus waiting for 30, 60 days later when it's kind of too late, or trying to catch up and didn't have that cash flow.
Yeah. The nice thing about, and I'm not trying to side with you too much, but it's hard not to here, because I'm still blown away that people use their office managers as their tax people or their accountants.
Yeah.
Right? They do it all the time. Or somebody that just kind of grew into the position as the controller and they don't have the tax. They may know QuickBooks like the back of their hand, but beyond that, maybe they don't know how to deal with the IRS. They don't know how to deal with some of these issues. And I think they're doing it to save money. They don't realize they're spending probably double of what like what you could do to handle all the same things and free up that valuable employee to be in front of the clients instead of in front of the books, which they hate to do usually anyway.
Yeah, yeah. And, they do it because out of duty to the employer, who wants them who says, well, I don't want to, I want to save money on the CPA, so you do it, and, I'm sure you can do it correctly. But we can save them money because that relieves that person of trying to determine, how to do this accounting, and use us as a resource, so they can do, the job that they're meant to do, which is manage the firm.
I pay you a low monthly fee. You handle all of our accounting, and our accounting is pretty complex because we have kind of 4 businesses going on.
Yeah.
The first week of January, I didn't even ask for this. You send me an email, and I already know what I owe the first week. Yeah. Right? Even though I have like several months to pay it, but I already know what I owe. Yeah. It's like done on demand. Yeah. That's what I like about dealing with an accountant, because you already know where you are.
Well, we have to prepare you.
Yeah.
Because we don't want you to get to April 15th and say, oh my gosh, I owe that much money. Well, I'm not prepared to pay that. Couldn't you have told me, say, in January or before the end of the year? And so we want to have you prepared for that liability, or we want to help you save before you end up having that liability.
Okay, good. So you have different, we are out of time, by the way. Okay. And this is a big topic.
Yeah.
But you have different tiers. I'm looking at bronze, silver, gold, and platinum.
That's our concierge service. Okay. We can offer a fixed fee and offer a concierge service depending on what the client would like.
Looks like I'm in between the gold and the platinum service.
Correct.
Where you handle a lot of things. And so who's your ideal person? Like watching this, who's your perfect client?
Perfect client.
And who should talk to you? I mean, because it's a free consultation, obviously.
Yeah.
They can call you, meet with you face to face.
And sit down and determine if they want to work with us and what we can do for them and how we can save money, or at least, have good accounting, proper accounting. So yeah, and we can tailor our our service to the client's economic needs. But the best client for us is a small business client, and that could be anywhere from a business that's grossing about $500,000 a year to millions, and we're there. We can do that.
Are there a lot of people that when you meet them, they're the business owner, they're the best salesperson for what they're doing, but they're handling a lot of their own accounting? Do you see that?
Yes, I see that. I've had an instance in talking to a new business person, and he needed my services. He was going to open up 4 or 5 locations, yet his accounting records weren't correct.
He was doing it himself.
He was doing it himself. He needed our services, and he wanted extra services other than just accounting. What ended up is he didn't want to let go. So he left the office. He didn't hire us. He left because he didn't want to let go of doing all those things on his own, and I could have saved him money. And
a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs are like that, right? They're excellent at what they do.
Yeah,
they're perfectionists, and they don't want to let it go.
And they should have, in his case, he should have focused in on what he did best and where he made his money, not worry about my service and hiring me. So, in my opinion, he's not going to be that successful because he just want to let go.
But he's going to watch this and come and call you.
Well, I hope so.
So we're out of time. I want to thank you for coming to the show.
Oh, thank you.
And you've been on the show now, many, many times.
Yeah.
It's been 16, 17 years.
Yeah.
People need to know you're still in business, you're thriving, you're growing.
I'm still here.
And you're not aging in the last 17, 16 years.
Well, physically.
That's about it. All right.
So yeah, no, I'm doing very well.
Okay, good. I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, thank
and if
you
somebody
very much.
wants to get in touch with you, they just call your office and they get to meet with you face to face.
Yeah.
In what, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you'll know whether you can help them?
Yeah, usually it takes 45 minutes to an hour because I want to get to know what that client's needs are. What are the challenges that they're having? The challenges are the important thing. How can I help them, with these challenges that they're having and get them, into having proper accounting and good, tax savings.
Okay, good. Thanks again for coming on the program.
You're welcome.
You've been watching the Wellness Hour Consumer Report. I'm Randy Alvarez for now. I'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching the Wellness Hour, the leader in medical news with your host, Randy Alvarez, the authority on health issues.